Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Rob's Rig. If Jeep Wranglers are so bad, or Jeeps in general, I guess, why in the hell do we keep buying them? I've got a new one sitting over here, new to me. It's a 2025, only has about 600 miles on it, something like that. And I've had several Jeeps in the last several years, probably one every year to 2 years, year and a half, and yeah, I have a problem. But anyway, if they are so bad, then why do people keep buying them? And I thought, it'd be interesting to go out and do a little search and see what the interweb has to say about it, right? So here's what it has to say. People buy Jeep Wranglers despite their poor reliability and on-road comfort because they offer an open-air lifestyle and off-road capability that no other vehicle can match at its price point. Sounds like a good reason, I guess. For many owners, the Wrangler isn't just a car, it's an adult Lego set. This is one of the biggest reasons why I buy it. That acts as a ticket into a massive supportive community. That's true. So it's a Lego set in that you can do all kinds of mods and things to it, make it your own, personalize it, improve it, and there is a huge community out there, so it's kind of a brothership, if you will. The why behind sales, it says here, while critics point to a noisy cabin, poor gas mileage, and frequent repairs, buyers focus on these key strengths. So these are the strengths of the Jeep Wrangler. Unrivaled capability. It remains one of the few vehicles with a solid axle, body-on-frame design that can handle extreme trails right off the lot. And that's true. You can go, sign those papers, spend 3 or 4 days in the finance guy's office, and then head straight out to the trails if you want. Insane resale value, and this is something I frankly don't understand, but it says here the Wrangler consistently tops lists for holding its value. Many models retain over 60% of their original price after 5 years. That makes absolutely no sense to me. If they're so terrible and get such a bad rap, why are they worth so much in the aftermarket or the used car industry, I guess, or market? The open air experience. It's the only mass marketed SUV where you can remove the tops, doors, and fold down the windshield for a convertible experience in the wild. It's funny they mention about folding down the windshield, right? Whoever does that. I mean, if you're going anything above probably 20, 25, 20 miles an hour, and you've got that windshield down, it's like riding a motorcycle with no shield over your face, right? I don't know, but according to this, people like that. Or I think it's probably more the thought of being able to do that. Ease of customization. A massive aftermarket allows owners to personalize everything from the suspension to the interior, often treating repairs as opportunities for upgrades. And maybe that's why, people look forward to the Jeep breaking down so that they then have an excuse or a reason, particularly if you have to justify it to somebody else, to go ahead and do an upgrade, change out a bumper, upgrade the tires, do all that kind of stuff. The Jeep lifestyle. Owners join a culture famous for the Jeep wave. Community meetups like Jeep jamborees and even ducking, which of course is leaving rubber ducks on Jeeps, is something that a lot of the community does. And some of it might be a little corny, the ducks, but it is a sign of camaraderie, right? You should always take it as a compliment, I guess, if somebody leaves a duck on your Jeep. You don't have to keep it. Community perspectives. Here's just a couple of opinions, I guess. People buy what they like, what they think is cool. I kind of don't blame them for that. And the Wrangler, though, considering their resale value is crazy. Someone else said, when you buy a Jeep, you're investing in a lifestyle, not a vehicle. Sure, they have issues. We call them character traits. Nice way to put it. But the pros of owning a Jeep outweigh the cons. Just a couple of thoughts by, I guess, a couple of either fans or enthusiasts. The trade-offs. Potential buyers are often warned about several known issues. Road manners. The suspension built for rocks makes for a bouncy, loud, and wandering ride on the highway. Jeep's gotten a lot better. It used to be that you would be thrown around all over the place on the highway, particularly if it had a more severe cup to it, for water runoff and stuff. They're a lot better than they used to be for sure, but they're not Lexuses. They're not Cadillacs, right? Safety. It often receives lower crash test ratings compared to modern unibody SUVs due to its removable parts and rigid design. Yeah, because it is basically a Lego set, you hit something and just everything goes flying, right? The tops fly off, the doors might come open, I mean, all kinds of things, but that's a Jeep, right? The death wobble. This is the bane, other than stop-start, of the Jeep. A known vibration issue in the front steering components that can occur at highway speeds. You know, I witnessed this once. It was on a two-door Jeep Wrangler. Guy was going down the freeway. He had to be doing at least 55 to 65 miles an hour, and it didn't seem to bother him at all. All of the tires, all four corners were doing this, wobbling back and forth. The damnedest thing I'd ever seen, and he didn't seem to care. He just kept going. And I'm like, that's got to be driving you nuts in the driver's seat, isn't it? Didn't really bother him. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. I've never actually experienced that myself. I think the biggest problems I've ever had with a Jeep probably is, I guess, the ride quality, or the fact that in a two-door anyway, they still really do ride the cup of the road pretty severely. And as I mentioned before, if you're on a road that has a more severe cup to it, and they do this so that when it pours down rain, the water runs off, right? You want it to run off. But constantly riding that cup, and depending on how severe it is, it can actually throw you around quite a bit. Bumps and things, this is more specific to the two-door, I think. You know, when you're on a road, I imagine even a trail that's really, really bumpy, and if you're going at speed, I mean above probably 30 miles an hour, and I don't know that you'd really be doing that on a trail. That's more a road if you are. But anyway, it does throw you around a bit. It kind of slams on those bumps if you hit anything that's deep. More of a stiff kind of a feel, I think, than squishy. I think that article kind of makes you think that it's a little more forgiving in those kind of circumstances than it is, and I don't find that to be true. I have had Jeeps off-road in the past, and they were pretty severe, I guess, on trails that were more rutted and things like that. Now, part of that, of course, is my fault, because I don't like to just crawl. I'm not a crawler. I like to go. So when you're off-road and you're cruising along, it's kind of fun to hit the gas a little bit. And then if I'm being honest, I like to see the dust rising up behind the Jeep, you know, creating this train of dust as I'm driving down some kind of a trail or something. Not the best way to do it if you're looking for the best ride, obviously. Anyway, there's just a few reasons, I guess, why people continue to buy Jeeps, the Wrangler and other trims or models, even though they get such a bad rap and have a really horrible, I guess, quality and ride reputation. Leave a comment, let me know. Did you consider that before you bought your Jeep, or you just don't give a damn? You wanted a Jeep, you got the Jeep, and you're happy. I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.